Now I remember why I'm here. It's the 4D thing. Role playing in the fourth dimension. Okay.
It's pretty good. If you can achieve that, that's a good level to be at. You can have good session.
Take it to go. Just past the drive-thru and be on our way.
You need to have like a 4D table, a 4D GM, and a 4D session for that.
You mentioned breakfast. Here, I wanted to get you some food. Fast. It's in a bag.
That was acceptable speed.
But now the player are also willing to be co-creator of the world and integrate, like manifest stuff that makes sense, right?
By the light of the Asiago, we must make haste.
You have to respect the setting, you have to respect the tone and stuff like that.
Will you make sure our beef stays fresh and never frozen? Dave's signature combo?
We will do what we can, son.
The 4D way, you assume that you're on a beach and that it'd be normal for it to be driftwood there.
Only the sweet things get frozen, son.
So that'd be the 4D way, and I think it's much more direct, much more cinematic. It keeps the flow of the game going much faster. You can accomplish much more in a session.
I have to end the session here. I can't play this game anymore. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Phil the Thrill. These are my compatriots, Mr. Max Boivin and Table Runner Crispy. We're going to be tonight on this peaceful, calm night, sitting in our chairs. We're going to be trying our best at the first planned horror-toned 4D game. We're going to see if we can do it. It's an experiment. We're in a lab. Would you guys like to say anything before we start?
No. I'm ready to go.
All right. Then we will begin. It is a chilly autumn afternoon, approaching evening. The sun indistinguishable in where it is in the sky from the heavy overcast, light gray clouds obscuring the light, leaving a nice dim, or lighting up the landscape in a dim light. The landscape covered in blowing long grasses and hills, with a small hamlet in the distance by the name of Reed Hollow. On this hill, a flock of sheep being tended to by one lone man.
I stand on the hill, leaning on my staff, looking over the sheep as they mew and mill about, swatting a few late season flies off my face. I sigh. Winter, it's coming.
One singular, heavily used path scales up and down these rolling hills. Chill in the air blows into the grasses and whips any loose garments across another hardened man's physique.
I'm traveling down the path, roll into my cover into my cloak, protecting myself from the chilly wind. I see a man on the hill, tending sheep at the downrange, and I raise my hand to wave to him, and I yell, "Sir!"
Oh there. call back, raising my shepherd's crook.
The sounds of the sheep, meh, as a few of them surround Soren. Some sheep further out, grazing on some grasses at this hill nearby, sort of the edge of what begins to be or towards a more rougher part of the grassland. Some trees as it extends out miles away into a forest.
I keep walking forward toward the man. I raise my other hand too. I say, "Sir, I'll need assistance here. Could you come and help me?"
I hesitate. Stranger. The border collie at my feet. I give him a command. It darts off to corral the sheep in a little bit. I push my way through the center of the flock, moving my way down the path towards this stranger, the shepherd's crook in my hand, as I walk carefully down.
I stop and I'm waiting for the man to come.
Chilly breeze is in the air. The border collie runs around a number of sheep, but stops on the far edge of the pack and begins to bark, alerting a bark of alert towards the shepherd.
I look over where the dog is, eyes trained on the forest line. I put my hand up with the stranger. Just one moment, please, sir.
I raise my hand in reply, and I nod my head.
Wind picks up, drowning out the sound of the high-pitched dog, but his shrill barks are able to pierce through that white noise. He stands there, insistent, staring at the shepherd, standing over something.
Can you walk with me? I have to go look at that. I have this flock here. It's late in the season. I can't afford to lose any of them. Some of them aren't even mine. If you'll walk with me, I'll hear if I can help you.
Well, the problem I have, sir, my old nag just broke a leg across the hill.
Ooh. How far away? Just across the hill there?
Just across the hill, just a few minutes walk. You're the first person I encounter.
Is the beast still in pain?
She's still in pain. She'll have to be put down, which I can do. And I open my cloak, showing my sword.
It's a soldier's weapon.
I'm coming back from campaign.
That's some bad luck. I extend my hand. Soren's my name.
I extend my hand as well. I shake. I'm Johan.
As your hands touch, another gust of wind, as if to mark some sort of fate, some sort of shared fate, chills you, or is chilly, that the kind of chill that reminds you that there's probably some storm on its way.
I look up, survey the clouds. Johan, this is an east wind. Not good at this time of year.
I take my hand back. I say, yeah, it looks like the chill is coming soon this season.
I will do what I can. I have some husbandry, since it is my profession to look after animals. But if you'll excuse me, I must see what the dog has found.
Would you happen to have a cart or something that I could borrow?
Alas, I'm poor. I carry what I have on my back. I know of a cart in the village we could use.
I'm afraid the beast is at the end of its rope. It's an old mare. but it's a shame to let that meat goes to waste, and it's gonna attract wolf. And I nod in the direction of the sheep.
That's right. That's right. Especially this time of year.
Yep.
I turn. I will see what I can do, but first, let me just take a look and see what my dog has found.
Bah! One of the sheep bump into Johann and
I call the sheep by name.
looks up into his eyes.
I pat the sheep on the head, and
It avoids your hand and runs towards Soren.
That sheep, I wouldn't. I've had trouble with that sheep. It's got a bad humor.
yeah, I'll go back to let you tend to your beast. I'll go back to mine. I'm just a few pace back up the road.
I point in the direction right over there.
Yeah.
All right, give me a few minutes. I just have to see, make sure there's no sheep tend to injure themselves quickly. I have to keep a weather eye on them. I turn,
Thank you.
walk towards the dog where it stands alert over something.
As you approach, the unmistakable, or there's a small mass of white, fluffy wool of a young sheep, tarnished with a coppery red,
No, not now.
pooling in a small pool.
I lay my staff down on the grass beside this bloody mess of a ewe.
Its throat has been ripped
What?
out by some sort of
Carefully
beast.
put my hands underneath its white, fluffy wool. I lift it up, move it onto my lap so I can carefully examine.
It bears the dyed paw of a townswoman by the name of Old Meg.
Poor Meg. She may starve. How do I tell her? The dog nuzzles up against me. I ruffle its head. Good boy, good boy. And then I stand with the...
Leans down to lick the...
No, off.
It scurries back, as if scolded.
I retrieve my staff.
Circles.
And in the crook of my arm, I carry this slaughtered, dead ewe. Staff in my other hand as I walk in the direction that I see Johann moving. As I walk, I keep glancing down at the opened throat of the sheep. What manner of beast?
A rough wound caused by fang or claw, but a large beast, definitely.
I'm at a quick pace. I regain back to where my injured mare is. I go to her and I crouch, put my hand on her forehead. I go to her belly, and I start undoing the saddle.
Tries to get up for a little bit, falls back down, defeated.
Put my hand on her shoulder, like trying to keep her calm. I say, "Calm down, my old girl."
His eyes are
Served me
wide.
well those years. I draw my sword from my sheath.
Carefully lay down the slaughtered ewe as I approach the injured mare. She looks in a bad way. I approach, walking towards the mare.
I move back toward the back of the neck of the horse. Say, she wouldn't have made the trip back home. That was the last one. After years of carrying me to the campaign and back to my village. Time has come.
The horse lets out a big sigh as it rests against the dirt of the path and the soft grass nearby.
I raise my sword above my head, and I do a big strike against the neck of the lying down horse.
Its glossy eyes watching you.
Trying to give her a quick death.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So the blade strike through, getting the right below the skull of the horse.
The blood pours
But in the throat.
out of its neck, seeping into the path towards your boots. A crash of thunder in the distance.
I look back up the path, keeping an eye on the flock, knowing they'll be spooked by that thunder crash. If we're going to salvage this meat, we must cool the body quickly.
Yeah, I have some rope in my saddle bag. We can drag the body, point to a tree near the path, to that tree, and hoist it over there.
We can hang the meat there. That's true, but it will attract other creatures, and it's hard to say. We may only have a couple hours of daylight left. If you'll allow me, I can open up the beast, open up its belly and empty the entrails at least. Those I can take over to the tree line, and if I throw them over there, maybe it'll keep most of the predators and scavengers away.
When you want to keep some for your dog?
He'll get plenty. It's better to keep the dog just a little bit hungry. I find they're more obedient that way.
So the sheep nearby nervously calling out to each other. The death of the horse having the effect that you expected.
They smell the blood, I say, as I
Yeah.
kneel down next to the mare's belly.
I'm sorry for that. I kneel down next to the mare as well, and I wipe my blade on the robe of the horse. Put the blade back in my sheath. Go to the saddle bag. Take up some rope.
Careful to undo the belly strap of the saddle. I move it back so I can slit open the belly of the horse.
Entrails, guts spilling out. More blood. Still
As I
very
get to
much
the
caught up and attached inside of the body.
I look at Sora and I say, "You've butchered beast before?"
Many times. Many times.
Good. Let's get what we can.
I take off my overcoat, lay it off where it won't get so bloody. My simple, rough wool shirt, I pull up the sleeves. You may want to stand back. This part does get quite messy.
The sound of the dog has intensified as he frantically is trying to keep the sheep together.
We'll have to be quick.
He's very skilled at it. He's just his energy is anxious.
I take my my knife from my belt, and I go toward the back leg of the horse, and I start cutting the skin around the waist. See, I'm not a stranger to some bloody situation.
I make my way using my knife to break under the skin and open up the horse. As I do that, I start bringing the organs out. As I get towards the down through the stomachs that I'm removing, my knife catches on something. Wait, I take out the knife and look at it. No, it's not the knife.
I'm pulling the skin off the leg of the horse, taking his pants off, working the knife to separate the skin, tearing it off, and starting cutting using it as an improvised bag.
Now, I try again. This time the knife cuts through. Suddenly, the bile from the stomach spills out all over my hands. I shake the filth off my hands.
I'm shocked by the smell, and I raise my head from what I'm doing. I say, I thought you said you did that before, many times.
That's not where that organ should be. There's something wrong with your horse.
Something wrong with my horse?
Well, beyond the obvious. Yes. There's something. I reach my nose. The acrid smell of the bile thick in the air. So I stick my hand into the horse's guts all the way up to the elbow. There's something here. There's something in here. I grab something with the ripping sound. I pull it out. Sinews tearing and popping. As I grab this thing.
I'm standing up and I'm making a step back. So what's wrong with you, kid?
Storking the dog has gotten much more frantic now. It's as it circles the sheep, keeping some of the ones, some of the more adventurous ones at bay or with the flock.
So go tend to your dog and your sheep. I'll get what I can. And then,
as this whatever it is I'm pulling out of the guts of the horse finally breaks free of its corpse, I stumble back onto my hands and knees, staring at what lies between my feet, horrified, my knife forgotten at my side. I start breathing heavy. That doesn't belong in a horse.
I make a step forward and I lean over the horse to look between the feet of Soren. What is that?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. Did you know your mare was pregnant?
There's no way she could be pregnant.
Well, what is that? I point, blood dripping from my finger, splashing into the dirt of the road.
That's
dark.
not a fawn.
No, it definitely doesn't look like a fawn.
Look
I've
more like a
helped enough
bird.
horses deliver.
Look
I
more
hear
like
the
a
dog
bird.
barking. My eyes go wide.
I circle around the horse and I put my boot on the bloody mess between Soren's feet and I step on it with my weight, going very close.
Squishes. Very satisfying squelch.
I look at Soren in the eyes.
Your feet.
I say, go tend to your sheep.
Stand up, eyes still fixated on this thing on the ground, now a bloody mess under the boot of Johann. I shake off the blood, pick up the knife, return, grab my staff, and look down at the slaughtered ewe. I reach down with one bloody hand, pick it up by the wool of its back, hurry off towards the barking sounds of the dog.
I stand there for a moment looking at Soren walk away, fixating on him before going back to butchering the horse.
The unmistakable, there's a small black hand attached to whatever was under your boot. Small thumb.
I butchering the horse, cutting them in the meat, and once in a while my eyes keep going back to that thing, and it's driving me mad. I get up and I push it I kick it in the ditch as far as I can, so not to see it anymore, and go back to cutting the meat, trying to take it out of my mind.
It rolls off, collecting dust like some weird sticky mass lost somewhere in the high reeds.
I place the dead ewe in the grass, whistle for the dog, and then I start calling the sheep, moving them down the hill with my shepherd's crook, encouraging them towards a small enclosure where I can keep them for the evening. As the clouds threaten rain above.
The sheep are much more calm under your watchful eye and direction, as the dog takes a more passive support role, staying on the outskirts, keeping the sheep in check.
Using the hide of the horse as an improvised bag, I put the meat inside and tie it up in a little package with the rope. Attach it to the pommel of the saddle. That's about all I can carry. Put the saddle on my shoulder and walk back toward down the path, leaving the rest like a half butcher horse on the road.
The wind picks up and helps the two of you down the road as it buffets against your back. Deep chill is in the wind as the sun has clearly moved further down into the horizon as dusk arrives.
I issue a few commands to the dog. Then I help get the straggling sheep in. As the last enters the pen, I call the dog back over. I look down at my hands, still sticky with the blood of the horse. I let the dog come and lap at my fingers as I stare back up at the corpse on the road up the hill.
Some some birds have begun to circle where the corpse. Begin to circle the corpse. The hamlet is very sparsely dotted with different stone buildings. Buildings are very old and covered in a green moss. The hamlet of Reed Hollow has been here for longer than you know. And a handful of people bustle around, getting ready for the evening.
I'm walking on the road regularly, like replacing the saddlebag and my burden, trying to manage the weight, the saddle when the burden, listening to the sound of sheep and dog, heading toward there.
I walk to the nearby well, draw a bucket of water, use it to wash the remaining filth off my forearms. Then I pour some water into a leather bucket there, used by the community. I look back up and see the soldier, Johann, walking towards me, towards the village, the hamlet. I take the water, the leather in hand, start walking towards Johann.
Behind you, you hear the shrill voice of the young boy, Callum. He says, Soren, Soren. He runs up to you. He says, how are the sheep?
The sheep are fine. The sheep are fine. Your sheep are fine. Say, as I glance down at the blood staining my clothes. It's getting late. Shouldn't you be at home?
His bright red hair, still almost like a light in this murky darkness of dusk time. He looks up to you with beaming eyes, admiring you, as he often does after you've come back to the town, to the hamlet. He says, "Is there anything I can do to help?"
There is something. Yes, I crouch down so that I'm eye to eye with the young lad. Can you go and check and see if the widow Meg? Go and check her and see if she's home. I need to go and see her. Just go and don't disturb her. Just go and see if she's still awake, and then come and let me know.
All right, Soren. And he turns around and runs off, eyeballing the soldier before he does.
I nod at him, and I raise my head to Soren and I say, "Would you give me hospitality for the night?"
Of course. I lift up the leather bag with the water in it. Some fresh water for you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I was going to go get a cart so we can maybe salvage some more meat from that horse before the carrion get it.
I look at the sky, the sun in the sky. See, I think it's gonna be a bit late for that. You want to do that at night?
No, I don't want to do it at night. But I have lost a sheep, a ewe, from one of the widows here. I don't have enough to make recompense, so I must risk it. If I could get some of that horse meat, if you'd be willing to share it, then I'll be able to pay the widow for her loss.
I point at the two improvised bag that are hanging from my saddle that I have on my shoulder. See, that's more than I can eat before they can spoil. We can have a roast tonight. Give the other one to the widow.
Yes, that could be enough. But if we could take some of the flanks of that horse, we could cut them into strips and dry them.
Another older woman passes by the well and gives Soren and looks at Soren with a judgmental stare, and then over at Johann. She says, "And who's your new friend?" "It is Beatrice the Weaver." Customer of yours for the wool.
I stammer.
I turn toward the woman. I say, I'm just a soldier passing through. I lost my horse on the road, and this gentleman offered to help me.
She ladles some water into a bucket and doesn't acknowledge you. Doesn't acknowledge Johan. Looks at Soren and the dead lamb in his arms. Lost one, have you?
I just stare back. Take one half step back away from Beatrice. My hand goes into my pocket. I pull out a small prayer bead. I start muttering just under my breath as I pass the beads in my hand.
I turn toward Soren. I say, let's hurry up if you want to get the most of it before sundown. Is there a place I can get rid of my burden?
Yes, I'll bring you to my home.
Thank you.
Follow me.
I follow you, and I extend an invitation to get moving.
Beatrice calls out after you. It says, "Whose lamb is it?"
I look back. None of your business. Stammering.
She continues ladling her water.
I move closer to Soren. I say, people of the village don't seem too friendly.
I'm heart racing. I take a moment. Deep breathe, deep. Hold it. No. There are some wicked people that live here. Mean-spirited. Cruel, like Beatrice. No stammer in my speech. This is my hovel. Small, modest shack.
Cozy.
It'll be dry and maybe somewhat warm. Please drop your things in here. I enter. I place the dead ewe on a very simple wooden table, rough cut.
I put the saddle on the next to you. Then I untied up the bags of meat, put them on a table, and put the saddle on the ground.
Wind picks up, cutting in through the door, slamming it shut.
I just
Some of
startled.
the windows there's like a rattling of the shutter.
My hands drop to my sword as a reflex.
I gesture over to a simple cot. So you're welcome to sleep there. With this storm, I'm going to stay with the sheep. Lest they
So forgetting
spook.
about the meat.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe the storm will prevent us from getting any more. As you say, that there is more than what we can consume.
On the door.
I startle again.
Mr. Soren! Mr. Soren!
Oh,
The voice of young Callum calls out.
yes, Callum. I'll be right there. Johan, this is a young boy.
With a
He's
bang on the
harmless. I come to the door, open it.
He steps in. The storm so far is just a strong winds whipping through the hamlet. He steps in and he says, I told old Meg. She was not pleased.
What did you tell her?
She said she wants to see the lamb.
Callum, I just wanted to know if she was home. Okay.
I move toward the fireplace.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I undo my belt with my sword. I put it on the side. And I'm starting to build a fire in the fireplace like it was my own place.
Callum follows you close behind Soren and says, It is her lamb, though, right? I can see the mark.
Yes, yes, Callum. It's her lamb. Some animal got to it. I don't know how. I was watching them the whole time. The storm is going to be bad. The
Poor
wind
little
keeps
guy.
picking up. Yes, it is too bad. I walk over to the table. Look here, Callum.
Oh,
You
wait,
see
it's a
where the
girl.
yeah, it's a girl. Just a baby though, still. See, the wool is soft, but there's not much of it.
He puts his hands on the wool, pets it lovingly.
I'm striking I grab the flint and tinder by the fireplace and I'm starting to strike a ember.
The howling wind, making a difficult task, starting the fire.
Out of my shoulder satchel, I retrieve some shears. Here, and I take the shears in hand. Now watch, this is how we shear. And I start shearing the ewe. Then I pass the shears over to Callum. You try.
He looks up at you, a little nervous as he pets the head of
It's okay.
the dead lamb, takes the shears, and starts to snip very cautiously, too cautiously. Makes
That
slow
right?
work of the wool.
You won't hurt her. You won't hurt her. A little more. I look over to Johan at the fire.
I'm turning towards Soren and I say, would you mind shutting down the door? This breeze is making all the work.
Of course.
We'll freeze tonight without a fire.
I walk to the door, close it, and bar it.
I go back to working on starting this fire.
This little sniffle comes from Callum as he says, "Poor little girl." Snip, snip.
I walk over to inspect Callum's work. I take some of the wool that he sheared off. Here, why don't you take this? You can stuff it in your pocket.
Thanks, Mr. Soren.
I reach for the shears from him.
He takes the wool, stuffs it in his pants.
Okay. It's probably time for you to get home, Callum. I walk back to the door that I just barred and open it. Run along.
Okay. I could help you other things. You just
No.
what's your name? He looks over at Johan.
I stand up now with some flame in the chimney.
He takes a step back, intimidated.
I turn and say, I'm Johan. I'm just passing through town, coming back from campaign. What's your name?
I'm Callum. Looks down at your sword.
I catch his glimpse and say, would you like to be a soldier someday?
I don't know. He looks bashful and
I move close to him
a little more confident.
and I bring my arm close to his arm and say, show me how strong you are. And I grab his bicep and I give a squeeze.
He goes, oh! But he has his lean muscles are in his arm. He's got a lanky physique, one made for running around and jumping and being a tiny adventurer.
I chuckle and I slap him on the back and I say, you could make a good scout.
You think so?
There you go, Callum.
Looks
Say
over at
ruffle
Soren.
his red hair. It's much more glamorous than being an under shepherd.
The whistle of the wind, reminder of the bad weather outside. Callum seems a little distressed by it. He says, maybe I should get back home.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Thanks, Mr. Soren. Mr. Johann. And he undoes the bar of the door and opens it. The door flings up.
I catch the door before it smashes into the wall.
I go sit down on the cot.
Makes his way. He just runs out the door.
I see leaves blown by the wind as it
Flash of
tears
lightning.
through. Flash of lightning as I close the door and bar it again.
The thunder follows as soon as you bar the door.
So what you gonna do with this you? Bring it back to the owner or roast it here?
I walk back to the table. Well, I'm going to strip the wool that I can from this small animal. And I don't think I'll bring the animal to the widow. Instead, I'll present the flank or whatever horse meat you agree, and I'll give that to her, as well as a promise of a future you in the next season. Hopefully that'll be enough.
It's a responsibility. I get up and I undo my belt that is holding my chainmail to my hips, and I'm starting to do the little wiggle to get out of my armor. I'm leaning forward, trying to shake it off. Soren, would you mind pulling on that a bit?
Sure. Where do you need me to hold? I walk over to the.
And I'm with my hands over my head, like the head.
I reach up.
Down. Just pull on the collar a bit.
I grab the collar. Oh, it's heavy. Wow. You
Slip out
walk
of
in
my
this?
chainmail.
I hold
Get
it.
used to it. I feel light now without it.
I imagine. I can't imagine laboring under this weight.
Whistling noise of the wind continues. The shelter does an excellent job at keeping its occupants warm. After a moment, that's when the sound of the heavy rain or hail starts buffeting against the roof of the tiny shelter.
Oh, had to be hail.
I'm moving to the table and I'm starting to undo one of the little package of meat that I wrapped up, the horse meat. Say I'm glad to be inside in that weather.
I finish at the table. I finish preparing the ewe. So, well, we may as well not let there's not a ton of meat here, but we shouldn't let it go to waste. So I take what few cuts I can from the small animal. Set that aside on the table.
I unwrap one of the horse meat package and I take 2 part of it and I go put it on the hook above the fireplace to roast it. And I go sit back on the cot. At least we can have some meat, some warmth.
I'll be back in a few minutes. In just a moment. With this hail, I just need to make sure that the sheep are still there.
Do you have anything to drink, Soren, before you leave?
I had some water from the well. I'll take another.
The meat of the lamb has some around the bite mark has some sort of infection or something has happened. It's turned the meat around the wound. So it's green.
This. That's not
some sort of black fleck, green. Difficult to spot, except for a trained eye like Soren's.
This isn't right. This meat is spoiled. But the corpse was fresh. It's gone gangrenous.
I turn towards Soren. I get up. I move to you, And I lean over the wound and I take a big whiff. I smell. That's not gangrene. I've seen
No?
gangrene a lot on the battlefield. I've seen men dying like poisoned by their own blood. That's something else.
I back up as far away from the table as I can. As my back hits the opposite wall of the small hovel, my hand comes out of my pocket. I have the prayer beads in my hand. I start reciting the liturgies again.
Meat is somehow diseased.
Grab one of the leg of the ewe and I flip it over a bit to get a better look. Shake my head. Turn towards Soren.
The only marks on the lamb are the ripped out throat and the staining of the wool, which is now shaved or sheared on the table.
What got that beast? You see?
No, I didn't see a thing, and neither did the dog. And that dog is well trained. It just was there, dead, suddenly. But if it was a disease, then we must burn it. I put the prayer beads back in my pocket, step quickly to the table.
I make a step to be in front of the fireplace, say, "Not here, brother."
No, not here. Not when we're cooking. But I can't have it in my home. And then I realize, my eyes wide, I gave its wool. I gave its wool to Callum. What if its disease is in its wool? I try to get the strands of wool from my hands, sticky with the blood from the corpse of the ewe.
I look at my own hand that just touched the ewe.
I turn to the bucket of water by the door. I plunge my hands into the water, trying to wash off whatever this is. Blood? Disease?
Rubbing my hands on my tunic nervously.
There are some diseases that are carried in the blood. We've had it all over.
What
That thing
disease?
in your horse.
Lamb lies motionless on the floor where you left it, and its face is contorted to an expression of pain.
I grab my cloak and I use it to grab at the lamb. I say, "Open the door. Let's get that thing outside."
Fumbling with the bar to the door, I get it open. Swing the door open as the wind and rain and hail scream outside.
As the door opens and I get close, I'm turning my face away from the wind and the hail, and I throw the lamb as far as I can on the side. And I shake my cloak before going back in.
Actions are lit up by a flash of lightning again. Spray of icy rain and ice slapping against your skin.
Storm is much worse than I expected. I yell into the storm at Johan. I have to go check on the sheep. I grab my overcoat.
I throw my cloak on the cot, and I make a step, and I'm silent for a second. Then I turn to Soren as he's putting his overcoat. I say, "That storm is not natural. You ever seen hail and lightning at the same time?"
No, I haven't. And I haven't seen a corpse turn so spoiled so quickly, not even in the heat of summer. fasten the cloak around, pull the hood over my head, holding the top of it as I hesitate at the doorway.
Be careful out there.
I just have to check on them. I'll be back soon. I open the door and step out into the sleet, the hail, and the wind as it tears at my cloak, biting cold. I glance over in the darkness. It's lit up occasionally by strobes of lightning. There, the body of the diseased, dead, slaughtered ewe. Naked now, stripped of its wool. It looks disturbingly childlike. I rush off through the storm, whistling for the dog to follow at my heels.
Inside
Dog.
inside the hut, I stare at my sword for a moment before going to tend to the meat by the fire, trying to get my mind away from the event that we just faced.
The the dog is not responding. The corral for the sheep is hazy in the distance, and you can hear a faint bah coming from that direction.
I keep calling for the dog. Heel! Heel! Struggling forward as the wind attempts to rip the cloak from my shoulders and my shepherd's crook from my hand, as I splash through icy cold puddles towards the bleating sound of the sheep off in the where I can't see, where it's obscured.
A reluctant border collie makes its way from the corral, slowly walking towards you, shielding itself from the weather.
I bend down, sheltering it with my body and cloak.
It licks
Pat
your
its
face.
head. I whisper some reassurance to the dog, petting him down, giving him a brief respite.
He whines.
Then I stand, continue towards the sheep pen.
Crouched down low, it follows, close to you. Sound of the sheep getting louder as you approach.
I'm by the fire. I look at those uncooked horse meat that are about to get ready. I stand up and I look around the little hut, little oval. I find like 2 clay plates, and I unhook the meat from those meat hook. Put them on the plate. Look at them. Hesitant. I put the plate down near the fire to keep them warm, and I go sit back on the cot. I grab my sword. I reach to my bag, and I grab a little bit of a whetstone, and I start sharpening my sword and polishing it.
Outside the at the sheep corral is the hail stops, and the fast wind is still going. That you're now pushing against you.
Leaning into the wind, I gain the sheep pen, and once there, I enter the pen, start calling the sheep by name as I move through their wet, sodden wool. They shiver in the hail sticking like hoar frost on their woolly hides. I call them out. Yip, Ren, Turta, Flan. I call them, counting them.
They all seem to be, they're all accounted for in front of you.
Relieved, I sit my back next to the rough stone wall of the sheep pen. I take out my prayer beads, start praying again.
The larger, angrier one that you warned Johann about comes over and rests its head on your lap.
Almog, what are you doing? You rascal. Pat its head.
Border Collie begins to growl, looking off into the obscured distance.
My hand freezes on Almog's head as my ears pick up the low growl of the collie. Varga, what do you hear? What is it, boy?
I'm looking at my blade in the light of the fireplace, turning it around. Satisfied with its state now, I wipe it on the bottom of my cloak, put it back in its sheet, and lean it against the cot next to me. I rub my hands on my thigh, looking at the door. So what is this kid doing?
The sheep begin to grow a little more nervous around you as the collie continues to growl, letting out small barks. Ruff, ruff, arr.
I stand up. Prayer beads go back into my pocket.
Shift in the mist of the storm. You see there's a shadow of a large beast for an instant on all fours, walking past.
Startled, I take a step back, holding my staff out in front. I look. The beast walks by. No hide on its hind quarter. No, my eyes. It can't be. It can't be. I move to the enclosure of the pen, and I step out, stumbling a little bit in the wet, muddy dirt or mud now from the storm.
Border Collie, now facing the opposite direction of you, standing between you and the
Guard.
whatever it's
guard.
whatever
Varga.
it
Guard the sheep.
staying between you and whatever is on the other side of the pen. Its eyes tracking it.
I sit back up on the cot, and I raise my leg on it. I grab my sword close. I look at the steak, the horse steak, by the fire, staying warm. I look at the door. I say, how long does it take to carry all those sheep? It's no time to stay outside like that in this weather. And I'm playing with twisting my sword in my hand, the pommel nervously.
Sound of deep, raspy, rugged, panting as the collie continues to eyeball the creature. Seems to be circling around the pen towards you, towards Soren.
I take a few steps back.
Border Collie goes, "Rah!" and it jumps towards the shifting shape in the mist.
I call out, Varga, no! Back!
And the sound of battle between this giant beast, and then the yelping of the collie quickly quieted.
No.
It's,
In a panic, I vault over the sheep enclosure onto the road that I had used from my hovel. I slip and fall, splash into the road. Attempt to get up as quick as I can. My legs slip underneath me. I use my staff. I start running, slipping, sliding in the wind and the wet, muddy road back towards my hovel.
As you run, the sound of a guttural howl fills the night, easily piercing through the flimsy walls of your hovel, filling the night with a terrible.
When I hear the intense barking, and I hear like a voice in the distance yelling, "Varga, no!" I get up suddenly from the cot. I see what happened to this kid. I grab my sword with the belt. I put it back on my waist. I go to the fireplace. I grab a flaming stick, and I unbar the door. Open it.
Through the blowing rain and howling wind, I see coming at the open door of my hovel, Johann standing there with a stick burning, terrified. I scream out, "Something's coming!" I slip in the mud, my clothes covered and caked in mud.
I, holding the stick in my left hand, I open the door fully, and I run towards Soren, and I extend a hand to him.
In the past Soren on the road, a large beast on all fours figure with is running back up the road towards those hills. Something in his jaws.
I say like, what in the eternal light is that?
I don't know.
I pull on Soren's
For a moment,
leg.
I thought it was your horse. I must be going mad. I scramble with my muddy hands into my pockets. I pull out the prayer beads. I start nervously working them in my hands, incoherently mumbling.
For a second, I'm frozen in place, and I just slowly turning my head towards Soren and say, "My horse?
It can't
Are you
be.
mad?"
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Where's my... Oh, Varga. Oh.
I put my hand in the back of Soren's back, and I push him toward the oval. And I start walking myself toward the door.
My shoulder bumps into the door jamb of the hovel. I stumble in, collapsing in a heap in front of the fire.
Open door, making the shutters rattle again with an intensity.
I get in, close the door, bar it.
The fire almost goes out from the wind.
I look at the stick that I had in my hand. It's extinct. Throw it back in the fireplace. I grab the poker, and I start working the fire with the poker.
I take a
I look
moment,
towards Soren.
just holding breath. White knuckles around my prayer beads. I stammer. My dog, Varga. No, I can't do this by myself. I need that dog. He was a good dog. Oh,
Still poking in the fire, like, even though the fire is back, just poking in it like mechanically. And I turn towards Soren. So what happened out there? Is that a wolf? My horse.
too big for a wolf. Too big. Couldn't have been a
Yes.
wolf. A bear, maybe?
The glow of the fire returns, soft light flickering in the hovel.
I grabbed the clay plate that I set by the fire with the horse
Wind
meat on it.
wind seems to have calmed down a bit.
The fire, the light, it helps. I feel better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You must think I'm a coward. You're just off of campaign, and I look after sheep. I'm not even good at that. I sit up by the fire and put my hands to warm them. Mud still caking my face from when I fell.
I'm standing with the 2 plates in my hand, one in each hand. I turn towards Soren. I extend one. That's the
Thank
horse
you.
meat.
I take it. I smell it.
So I'm not sure I want to eat it.
I'm suddenly very hungry. I take a piece of the meat and bite onto it. Juices flowing down my chin.
I put my plate on the table next to the uncooked meat. I say, that's funny. I had the opposite effect on me. I lost my appetite.
Oh, it doesn't taste bad. It tastes just fine. Oh, I'm so hungry. Juices.
I'm standing there. I resting my ass against the table, looking at Soren eat without a word.
I devour the rest of the plate without pause, scalding my mouth under the hotter bits.
Warmth of the fire begins to fill the hovel, leaving a much more homey feel as the meat goes down.
Belly filled. I feel tired.
Now that
I think I'll close my eyes for a moment.
Now that Soren is done eating and is closing his eyes, I grab the plate behind me and I start like chewing on the meat a bit, eating slowly.
Meat's fresh, untainted in taste.
Take a little bite. I think I eat much slower than I would normally do, taking the time to really like chew and analyze the taste of each bite. So suspicious.
I twitch in my sleep. A dream making me unsettled. My hands making the motions as if holding the prayer beads, which are lying on the ground next to my empty plate.
I undo my belt sword, put my belt I put my sword against the wall, and I sit down and lean against the same wall next to it, with my knee close to my chest. Take off my boots, extend a bit leg close to the fire.
A sudden crack in the fire disturbs my sleep. I roll over a little bit, putting my back to the fire, letting it warm me. So my breathing gets heavy.
I'm starting to doze off, just sitting the back against the wall.
Soren, as your eyes open, you're back on the hillside. Your flock is... You're lying on the hillside. The sun is about to set again.
My eyes open. I breathe in the smell.
It's a sour stench. Burns your nose.
I sit up, come to a sitting position, look around.
Your flock is nowhere to be seen. In front of you.
I suddenly stand up, looking around. Frantic.
In front of you is old Meg's lamb.
I stare.
Blood dripping from its neck.
No. This. I step back. I take another step back.
It walks towards you slowly.
I reach for a staff that's not there. My hand then goes to my pocket where I keep my prayer beads. Empty. Nothing there. I sink to my knees, start stammering. I was watching. I was watching the whole time. I'm sorry. I was watching.
Johan. You
My back
awaken.
against the wall. 2 decades of soldering taught me to sleep almost anywhere.
The wall is different. It's the wall of a barn. Large hay bale is in front of you. Pokes your legs.
I'm looking around. So I know that barn.
Hay on the floor.
Oh, that barn.
You hear the faint whimpers of a young girl, all too familiar.
I get up and I brush myself off. I'm just having like my regular farming clothes, taking off the straw from it. I call Eliza. I move towards the door of the barn.
Sobbing continues. Sobbing of a young girl. Soren, the lamb continues to approach you.
Tears stream down Soren's cheeks.
The voice of a young girl in your mind says, "You could have saved me."
I know. I know. I'm on my knees. Arms splayed out.
Why weren't you watching?
I was watching. I raise my face to the sky, cheeks soaked with tears.
Continues to approach you.
I was
somehow
watching.
Still seeing it, even though on your back.
At the sound of sobbing, my hands drift toward where my sword would be, but it's not there. And I'm rushing toward the door of the barn. Seems much further than it should. Rushing toward the sobbing, yelling, "Eliza!"
The barn fades into darkness. Ahead of you, the scene of a table. And a girl sounds like she's choking. She's holding herself like this. She's wearing dressed as your daughter.
I run toward her, I put one hand on her chest, and I grab her hair, and I pull
Her
her head
eyes,
back.
her eyes fly open. She looks at you,
Say, Lisa.
beating eyes.
The end on the chest move to her chin, and I open her mouth, and I put a finger in, trying to reach her throat.
Suddenly, she is on top of you, and her hands are around your throat. She's standing over you. You feel the drip of blood coming from her neck and dripping onto your forehead. Drip, drip, drip.
My
Grip
hand
is
grab her
powerful.
wrist. My hand grab her wrist without any strength. And I'm just looking at her and say, Lisa.
Soren, the lamb, approaches you.
I struggle to move, my limbs unresponsive, tears still streaming down my face. I reach again into my pocket for the prayer beads that aren't there. No, I'm not cursed. Beatrice is wrong. It wasn't my fault.
Darkness begins to envelop you, and you hear the same voice loud in your ear. It says, "Blood will close the wound." Over and over. Blood will close the wound. As it turns away from a scene and more into just a intense whirlwind of ephemeral emotion, echoing noise, the echoing voice in your mind.
I'm lying on my back. I'm paralyzed. I have the view of my daughter, like, standing on me, bleeding from the throat.
Continues to
Unable
feel
to
the
move or
drip
to
over and
react.
over.
All I can do is mutter, like, quieter and quieter, like, Lisa, Lisa. Picking my head. As much as I
Johan,
can.
you're actually awakened in the hovel once again, feeling the drip of a faulty roof landing
And
on your forehead.
my hand, like, reached my forehead right away, and then I look at
It's
my
water.
hand,
It's water.
but I keep staring with the water still dripping on my head. And then I realize that, and I lose patience, and I get up.
The
I
whirlwind
go close to the fire.
in my mind, the sensation of suddenly
One second.
falling,
Sorry. Apologies.
and I start awake. Take a moment looking around in the hovel, getting my bearings. Oh, sorry, Johan.
Standing by the fire, I move my head toward where the leak's coming from for the roof, and I say, "Your roof's leaking."
Yes, well, I meant to talk to the thatcher about that, but I have no money for the thatcher. And I
The
have
wind
no
has
time.
died down. It's just a good rain outside.
I gather up my clothes, shake the mud that I can that's now dried off of it as much as I can.
So winter's coming soon. You don't want to have this all leaking during the winter month.
No, I can't have that. I have to go check on the sheep. I have to go check on Varga, my dog.
You want to go back out now?
If he's injured, I have to know. I know there's something out there, but I reach for my shepherd's crook. I have to go out.
There's a soreness
wait.
in your hand. Soren.
Oh.
A
I'm
muscle
sorry.
ache.
I'm sorry. I meant no disrespect.
Maybe I should go with you.
If that would help steel my courage, what little of it I have.
You got a lantern or something? As I move toward where my sword is resting against the wall, pick it back up, tie the belt around my waist.
I point over at the chainmail. Shall we put that back on? Just in case.
I'm stopping midway, like from tying my belt. I look at the chainmail. And I undo the belt. I say, yeah, maybe. And I go toward where my chainmail is resting.
I lay the staff up against the wall, walk over to help Johann put the chainmail over his head.
Say, I'm good to put it on. I can
I'm
manage
sorry.
that.
I know very little about such things.
And I slip the chainmail over me, wiggling in. So can you just lend me the belt over there?
Of course. I pass it over.
Tie the belt around my hips, tight to manage the weight of the chainmail. Go back to my sword with its own belt.
I gather my things. Open the door after unbarring it.
I nod toward the shepherd crooks. I say, that's all you got to defend yourself?
Well, I have a sling as well. And I do have that knife. But I can hardly afford this small hovel, let alone something as expensive as your mail or sword.
1 second.
Yeah. They don't have you keep a weapon for militia service around here.
Well, there is one, but I'm not allowed to be in it.
Not allowed.
No.
Finish tying up my belt. What do you do?
It was a misunderstanding. I was watching someone and they had an accident. I was blamed for it.
So then you went to watch sheep, and they have an accident.
And now they say that I'm cursed. And no one will hire me. But I watch the sheep. No one else will do it.
Curse.
Yes.
I guess I am too. You're the first person I found to find help.
My curse must rub off on you.
I could have ended up in the oval of an old widow.
That would have been better. That would have been better. I look down at the floor. My hand moves to my pocket. I just reach in, squeeze the prayer beads, make sure they're there. Okay, well, I'm
How
going
about
out.
this lantern?
I have a lantern, but I can't afford the oil. reach over and pick up a dusty lantern sitting on the ground.
Well, I'm afraid I don't have any oil with me either. I guess
With a
we'll have to
clank,
do
I
with
put it back on the ground.
in that rain.
Faint light of the approaching dawn peeks through the shutters.
Let's go check on your flock and move toward the door.
I open the door and step out into the street.
Rain is still coming down. The discarded corpse of the lamb still rests on the street, a few yards away from the door.
Pulling the hood of my cloak above my head.
The sky is partially lit. Still a very dark gray, but lighter than night. Lights your way. This
I walk down the street.
dawn.
The early morning mist and drizzle of the rain quickly saturating my clothes. Walk towards the storm has erased my fall in the mud. I walk towards the sheep's pen, fearing the worst, splashing in the puddle.
I'm dragging behind a bit, and once in a while, like just hurrying up to catch up. I say, "Excuse me, Soren, I had a terrible night."
Troubled dreams. I had a troubled dream.
As you say that, the at your feet is a large paw print about the size of a dinner plate.
I stop. Look at this. I crouch down, holding the staff at my side. Look at this. I splay out my fingers. Bigger than my hand. What kind of beast is this?
Must be humongous.
Well, at least I know I'm not crazy. It's definitely not a horse. And then I stand up.
It's too big to be a wolf.
I think the tale's told. Failure.
The physiognomy of a wolf is indistinguishable, despite the size.
It's the right shape. But
It's too big.
a
though.
wolf that size,
I've never seen anything that size.
to be... For a paw to be that size, you would need to be 4 or 5 times the height of a regular wolf.
The size of a horse.
Maybe even bigger.
I stand up from where I was crouching. Varga, I call out in the dim dawn light. Varga, I whistle.
No answer.
If there's such a wolf out there, it's gonna go make quick work of your sheep.
It'll make quick work of us all. God save us. My hand goes back to my prayer beads.
Like a breeze of wind pushing rain into your faces.
My left hand rests on my sword, my thumb caressing the pommel.
I walk up to the sheep's pen. Start calling out their names.
Everyone accounted for.
I sigh with relief. All the sheep are here. And then I walk around the other edge where I last saw Varga.
I haven't heard any barking.
No signs.
He's not here.
Aside from another one of those paw prints.
He's not here. Whatever this left these prints has taken him. I fear the worst. My poor dog. Ah, Varga. Loyal to the last, even to one who's cursed.
I look at the paw print. I put my feet next to it, compare the size to my feet. Incredulous of its size. So you have to warn the villager about this beast.
Not sure they'll believe me, but I will do what I can.
If you are quick before the rain, you raise those paw print. They'll have to believe you. But they'll blame you for being cursed.
Of course. I'll have to leave. I'll go wake them. I shuffle back down the road.
I'm standing there for a moment, still observing the paw. And my eyes looking at the sheep. I'm muttering to myself, that little you hasn't been killed by a wolf, not even a wolf that big. The wound doesn't fit.
I think we'll end the session. That's all right with y'all.
Yeah.
Just it feels like a Act 1 end. So,
Yeah.
What'd y'all think?
This is a stretch for me. You know, I'm kind of more of an action guy, so it's a stretch, but I like it. It's a good challenge.
I love it.
Good challenge.
I love the slow pace.
Yeah, I know you like the slow pace.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to respect that, Max, because I'm kind of the push it guy.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love it because now, like, there's this situation. You know, we get time to know the character, right? Get the personality in or out, I guess.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the personality in.
Is it in or out?
I was trying to show the personality.
Yeah.
Phil, how do you feel it went? Because what I was doing is I was trying to drop things that if you wanted to, you could use, or it was just in my head, like the thing in the horse or the.
Yeah, well,
was that
I think
okay?
you overstepped.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be a mundane setting.
Yeah,
and you're like you're 4D'd some sort of demon impregnated horse.
I was quite prepared to be like it. I thought it shouldn't belong there.
So
But
I
it
didn't
could
really
have just
know how
been
to
my
handle
head.
that. So I was like, what?
My hope was that it was going to be that I would just say, like, this doesn't belong, and then it could just be like if you described the horse's spleen comes up, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry,
And there was another time where the beast is like circling the pen, and then it's like your first action was to describe it. You were like, "Oh, it's skinless in the back." I'm like,
"Yeah, that's."
So you're kind of controlling NPC a little bit at that point.
What I was trying to do there, in my defense, what I was trying to do there, Phil, was just show how terrified I was in the dark.
Yeah, and that's
seeing
fine.
things that weren't there.
I can get that.
You could just say that's not at all what it was, like, or not even say that, but just describe it, and then I'll adjust as if I can't trust my own eyes.
Yeah,
so
like with that.
That's what I was trying to go with it.
Because he saw because he had like this fresh memory of the horse, right? I could see like that kind of like him put that image in whatever he saw, right? You kind of feel in the blank when you just saw something in the dark, right? You just saw a shade in the dark, and you.
Yeah, I felt like I had to address the horse baby. I was like, I guess there's some sort of monster in there.
Well, it didn't have to be a monster. my idea was
You're
simply
like,
that
this isn't supposed
I'm
to be an horse. I
scared
was
of
like,
something.
Is it a whole apple?
Like it could have been nothing. I kept
Could
on
have been a
pausing
apple.
to
It
be
could,
like,
could have been a.
Wait, he's freaking
A
out
rock?
about it. He's
I
not
was
gonna
freaking
freak
out about
an
it.
apple.
well, no, but I was freaking out about it, but I never described what it was.
Yeah.
I just said that shouldn't be there, and then I scrambled back.
But I had to make it something that would plausibly
A
be
stone.
in a horse.
Could be a stone. Could have been.
But he's
I
like
just had the knife
scurrying
catch on
away
something.
on his back.
I was,
Oh,
yeah.
my
I was trying to show that I was startled.
It's a fucking stone. That's not what's happening.
Well, if it would shock me if I wasn't expecting it as part of a butchering thing.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to see what, because I wasn't sure what
Be a
you
good
had
reason why
already.
it's down.
Yeah, but I did see
Planned.
Crispy that you were like pushing a bit, like the
I
rhythm.
was, yeah.
You were like
I was.
bringing the supernatural element, maybe faster than Phil was ready to do.
I was, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
not
think it
even.
was, like,
It's a
totally
magic
needed, yeah.
question mark game, so I feel like that should be my
Yeah.
domain. Whether or not there's
100%,
anything
it's your
supernatural.
domain. Yeah, 100%.
So, other than that, I thought it was fun. I thought you
Yeah,
guys did
there
a
was-
really good job.
There was some point, sometime like where like, because we're separated, sometime, right? And sometimes I feel like you were going a bit long with Crispy, and I just like I kind of like forced myself back in just to describe like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do during this time, but I described something that I could do for a long time, so you can go back to Crispy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? So that's what I try to do. Like sometimes like don't
Did
come
you?
back to
Were
me
you
once in a while.
scared? What'd you think of the dreams?
I love the dream sequence. I think you
Yeah, the
managed
dream
it
was
well.
good. I thought
Yeah.
that worked well.
It pretty much took away your character agency for sure.
During the dream,
Oh yeah.
did it?
Well, it
Maybe you didn't
teleported
realize
us
it,
into
but I
that,
did.
but
Yeah.
But we could still act in the dream though. So
Mhm.
Right. That's why I'm not against taking away character agency.
Yeah, but
Necessarily.
I don't feel like my agency was taking it away. It was I went to sleep, I had a dream, right? That's something that happened. But then in the dream I could still act, right? I wasn't like I could
Yeah.
still like and decide how I feel and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
No, I
I'm
think you
like
handled it well.
teleporting you around. I put you under the. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's all
I'm
right.
glad you liked it. Good.
Yeah.
So
Like I didn't feel like this was because like it's not like you're moving my character. It's like the scene change, right? Like in a dream, right? It's like the thing in front of you changed in a
Right.
nonsensical manner. So it's not like you moving my character per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I was moving you around.
Well,
I
didn't feel it.
didn't feel that way.
I at one point, like right before Crispy spawns a demon baby in the
I
horse
didn't
seat,
spawn the demon baby.
I was thinking, okay, we're gonna time skip slaughtering a horse. Like I was fixing to time skip it, and then Crispy was like, I feel something crazy. That's
Yeah.
not supposed to be there. Demon baby.
I was.
A
You
demon
keep saying
baby?
demon
How did
baby.
that come here?
I was happy.
Have you seen this demon baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also I don't mind spoiling it, but I feel like I might have oversold the size of the footprint of this wolf because you're like, it's about 5 stories tall. Like, what did I do?
It's a kaiju wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this
I didn't say
Godzilla
five,
the
I
wolf.
said 4 or 5 times the size of a regular horse. I can be
Yeah.
wrong though, but it doesn't mean like I didn't
Yeah.
play it like
But
many
you're not
people that are
supposed to be
smaller
wrong because you succeed on the roll, right? So that's
like
kind of
an
an
incredible
interesting.
wolf.
That's kind of an interesting hiccup. Like, how do I?
Mhm.
How do I
I
do
can
that?
still be wrong slightly, right?
Yeah. But-
taking the piss out of Crispy.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
all
bit.
right. I deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. I like the I like those, I like those slow paced games.
So, yeah. So
I like
a few
when
things,
the tension you let the tension build, right?
a few things I'm trying in this game is, first of all, I'm trying to remember how to be GM. Been a minute. Another thing is, I believe in the 3-act structure, and I feel like it is a good improvisational tool if you just know the structure.
Hmm.
You kind of know what's going to get pushed or what you should be trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously the horror tone. Was it spooky? What do you think?
It was
Did we
tense for
succeed?
sure. It was tense
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
The
I think it
atmosphere
tense.
was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's meant to be like an act one of a horror movie. So
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like one really solid. You're in a horror.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of moments like that. I feel like I did that with the wolf and the dream.
Yeah. Yes.
And
No,
the
I think-
demon, and of course the demon baby.
And I like
Yeah.
I like also that you you know that, and in the end I think that worked well, right? I like how that, like, you know, oh, was that like, was your mare pregnant? No, and that doesn't look like, and I'd say that doesn't look like a fucking bird, right? It doesn't look like a horse, like something like
Yeah, he
I don't know.
swallowed a bird.
Yeah.
Somehow your
Somehow
horse swallowed a
Yeah.
full bird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just one of those things that happens.
Can happen.
and just like stepping on it and kicking it, and you know, I think that scene there, like right when it's like this thing like being near when I'm seeing butchering the horse, and you see oh, it's still there, like
Yeah.
bothering me. I forgot how you did it, but like that, I think that did contribute to the tension too.
Mhm.
The meat being spoiled, there was that as well. And I felt like I think we both managed to, and maybe you can tell us, Phil, or the chat. I think we both managed to express also our character felt the
Yeah.
tension and the fear. No,
I agree.
I wonder how,
Yeah, good.
because there was a lot of like, about halfway through, I'm realizing that on my terms, I'm talking too much about what I'm thinking, and I think it's probably
Did you do that?
I did, and as I'll rewatch this, and I think that's probably a bit of a misstep. It's probably just best, at least to start off, to not even go there.
it's difficult when you're alone, right?
Yeah,
Oftentimes we're separated, and you know, we're only two of us, so when we're separated, it's like you're one with the GM. So
Yeah.
it becomes at some point, like you described, like at some time I talk to myself, right, and stuff like that. I say stuff out loud.
Mhm.
Is that realistic? I don't know. I don't know how much you talk to yourself when you're alone.
I try not to.
Really?
Maybe a little bit.
I
I
talk to
always have a
myself
dog to
whenever
talk to.
if I have like if I'm having like focusing issues.
Hmm.
I'll talk to myself.
Mhm.
I'm usually right too. I'm just joking.
There you go. Captain Conway say,
Oh, thank you.
great session. It was pretty tense all throughout.
Good. It's so act one of a horror is supposed to be kind of like tense and uncomfortable. I feel like we hit that because the night never really seemed to end. It was just kind of like this. I really felt like the scenes in the hovel, it was just kind of like, I don't know, it's that kind of like sweaty, like I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It felt like tense and
no. I
uncomfortable.
think you nailed it there on this tension. Like I said, it wasn't like super like the most horrific, but like now there's something like coming up
Mhm.
that we kind of have an idea of what's the next kind of like thing we're gonna do, probably, maybe, right?
And that's kind of like something I wanted to showcase too, is that a normal D&D game can be pretty horrific as long as everyone buys in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like,
Right.
what happened? There's a wolf and it ate a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5-story wolf.
And my dog.
And there's a demon baby and
There's-
And there's a demon
course.
baby in
horse.
that horse.
Yeah,
there's demon
and
babies.
something that killed the sheep and make the meat rot away immediately. Something invisible too.
Yeah.
The I didn't know that you can't have hail and lightning. So I was just when
It's
you
rare.
said that,
no?
I was like, is that wrong? It's like, it's a big storm,
Yeah,
but whatever.
I don't think I never saw that hail and lightning at the same time.
Oh, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Okay.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, maybe I'm wrong.
But I was going to just play along. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll play along.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my character is wrong, right?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
that's fine.
So I feel like in the dreams where there was a part where the end of Soren's dream where it's like where I'm like the blood heals the wound or whatever. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I feel like that is super easy for a dungeon tuber to laugh off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like they would make light of it and that would be a joke moment.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Yeah, we
if you
didn't joke
buy
one.
in,
Yeah.
then it could be badass.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you get so much more, right? Because like now you allow yourself to experience the tension, right?
Mhm.
And when you're there and you're thinking in character and stuff like that, now you see those things happening, and you're just like you don't like I don't like I'm trying to act in character, and I don't know how I should act, right? I don't know what I should do, right? You got this tension there, and like there's things that are kind like I guess it's kind of scary, right? In a sense.
Yeah. I'm glad Soren ran away from the wolf
Yeah.
monster. That
Yeah.
was a good idea.
Yeah.
Instead of dying on the first
Instead
session.
of dying immediately.
I could have just died
Yeah.
immediately. I could be the red shirt that gets it right away.
Yeah.
In D&D, you're expected to kill the horrible monster when there's not necessarily what you expect to do in horror. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You guys got anything else you wanna?
I want to address the chat,
Oh yeah.
and if you have something else that come to mind, you can just like
I will.
say it too. But
Address 'em.
while you do,
Talk to him.
yeah, horror is interesting because it's often small detail that evoke the emotion you want. The rotting meat, the scraping of bone. There is even a whole genre of body horror that is fully about it. Yeah. Oh, are you trying when you butchering the sheep? Are you also trying to include something there?
Me?
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I mentioned how in the evening with the lightning, the strobing light, the sheared sheep looked too childlike, just laying there in the street. And so I was like, I was kind of going a little bit for that.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. We had like
was awesome.
early in the
Yeah.
stream, right before we started. The unsolicited advice video or the next stage in RPG evolution.
Temper
Can't wait
your
to see the master at
expectations.
work. Well, I hope if you kept watching that you weren't too disappointed.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't disappoint, but I'm not really a horror guy, but I don't know. I guess I was getting close to scaring myself a few times.
Yeah, I wasn't. I think you did a really good job, Crispy. Your character was very unlikable, and like, you know what I mean. I don't know if that was the
Yeah,
intention.
I'm kind of going with the intention is kind of the outcast,
Yeah, he's like kind of crazy, unhinged, wild card.
unhinged,
Yeah,
that sort of thing. We need a stat block for the baby demon.
Yeah,
Baby demon squished.
that's not supposed to be there, right on your shoulder.
This is my
The
baby,
baby demon.
The baby demon, the
Yeah.
cat.
You guys can see this?
Oh yeah,
The cat. Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that could see
baby.
demon.
I'm gonna be forever known as the demon baby. That's right, I am. I'm gonna make a T-shirt.
Yeah, demon baby Crispy.
Demon baby. What is that? Is that a demon baby?
Yeah. But this is so this world is, if y'all didn't remember or whatever, for the folks back home, this is the Witches of Duncanvale world. So we do know that there are supernatural elements. Potentially.
Well, and I was trying to play up the superstition side of things. That's why I had the prayer beads, and I'm constantly
Are demon babies a bad omen?
everything's a bad omen.
Yeah.
What was it? It was a bird. There was a bird in the horse, which is
It was a
weird.
bird.
He swallowed the bird whole.
Swelled
Yeah.
the bird whole, or
Exactly.
the bird
probably
found its way there somehow.
Yeah. On the back, I could say, "Ask me about my horse," or like, yeah. Were you there? But it's spelled EUE instead of UOU. Where's the U?
Where's the U? Where's the U, Crispy?
Were you watching?
Yeah. Oh, what did y'all think of Callum, the kid?
It's an interesting tone shift. I like that. I was like, okay, this is good. This is kind of the feel good portion. And so
It's
I was like, okay.
it's the little girl from Poltergeist.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this little redhead kid. It's adorable.
Yeah.
He's like the one
Finger
kid
roll
that's like friendly to Soren, who everyone else hates.
Yeah.
Maybe for good
Yeah.
reason.
Maybe he's cursed too.
Yeah. Maybe he's cursed too because he's got red hair. You never know.
I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to the guy, to this little kid.
Yeah, but it was an interesting. I don't know. It was cool. It was cool to have an interaction with. I think there was a lot of establishing. It was very useful. That's what I'm going to say about Canon, to establish relationship, and with Sora in the village, in a sense, because now we have a character that he knows, and I guess also I also use it
hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also used it to establish something about Johan as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is, but
He doesn't just hate children, I guess.
no. Yeah.
Right.
And he still see the soldering profession as something.
He's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of a fatherly instinct to him, perhaps.
Yeah, never had a son. Yeah, they still say some good airy moments. There you go.
Good. Thank you,
Good.
Dice Tales. That's high praise from Dice Tales.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
the horror master.
He's the horror master. I wonder if Bacon's PhD of horror and role playing games friend will watch it.
Yeah. Good question. Good question.
I'd like to get his opinion.
Archlight say, yeah, I agree. Buy-in is everything. Being inert and unfazed is boring. Yeah, that is every D&D game. Yeah, exactly. Like people are so trained wrong, right? They're just trained to stand there with their mouth open until the GM tell them like, "Oh, roll me some dice." Or
Something I did that was I didn't really like. There were a few times where I didn't give you guys your full turn before I would like insert descriptors or like lay out a quick phrase, like the dog is nervous and backs off, or like
yeah,
real quick in the middle of Crispy's, demon baby monologue.
I think our turn could have been a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
you
so.
guys were a bit in the turnflation mode.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. We could have like took turns that were half as long and do twice as much.
There was
Exactly.
a lot of me not taking a turn because I didn't really feel like I needed to.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of like the GM learning to shut up.
Shutting the fuck up.
Yeah.
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 Don't
For
need
role
to
playing over
speak
here.
as much. That's true.
Yeah.
What's Eli saying? What are the Beeman? Okay, yeah.
What?
Okay. I was just looking at Eli's old thing here. I'll highlight it.
Maybe stat. Yeah.
There you go.
It's a good question.
Got your
Wait till it gets
thumbnail.
grown. The demon baby's in the game.
It is now.
Has
I didn't
to
put
be.
it there.
What?
It turned out into the wolf.
I just got spooked by something.
Yeah.
It could have been an appendix or something.
Also, a 5-story tall wolf is also involved in this game.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
intend to happen.
Since the supernatural world, you could work in a horse swallowing a bird is like some kind of omen. Yeah, that's what it is. Huh?
Thank you,
Could be.
Dice.
I think that's what Crispy was going for.
I
Like
was trying to go
something
through
in the
some
horse
kind of
going for omen.
Yeah. It did not have to be supernatural, but
Mhm.
I just wanted to show that I was
Well,
startled
when you
by
did
something.
it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess he's going to tell me what it is because
No, I was waiting for you because I didn't want
Yeah,
to go too far.
I noticed. So I was like, oh, he's not gonna. He's gonna put this in my lap.
I am.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
That
it's
was the plan.
forcing you in.
He's forcing me
was.
to make up a demon baby.
Yeah. David the GM say all of those things. I like the prematurely rotten sheep. Kept me guessing, just like when I tried to figure out on movie plots. And I think that's also a big point.
Thanks,
Like,
man.
being like
Good
when you try
comment.
to figure out a movie plot, or that's where you should be as well as player and as GM too, right? We kind of figure it out as we go together,
Yep.
and that's part of the fun.
Yep.
Right on.
Also, for people like wondering, this is the system we're using.
Yeah.
I should. Oh yeah, I screwed up. I should have made you guys do sanity
Yeah,
checks
I was waiting to
during
do
the
more
dream,
sanity.
and I should have definitely made Crispy do it when he spawned the demon baby.
Yes.
Yes,
100%.
Yes, I should have.
it's true. That would have been
Roll
a good
focus,
time for that.
right? Or
I
something.
should. I need to stop forgetting the other
Yeah.
two health pools
Yeah.
Sanity,
of
and
TPS.
morale.
Sanity and morale. Yeah.
Definitely when the wolf is like, maybe that's a morale check.
Mm.
I was actually
Probably.
going to make you guys do a morale check because of the heavy weather,
Yeah.
but every time I think about it, it's like 2 turns after, and I'm just like,
Yeah. It's hard
Forget
habit
about it, I guess.
to get, right?
yeah.
To work in.
So next time, Max, we'll just
I'm too busy role
Shorten
playing,
up our
and I'm not
turns.
doing the game.
Yeah. Shorting up our
Oh,
turns would be a good improvement.
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
remember to hurt you guys more.
yeah.
It's important.
Sorry, what?
I'll remember to hurt you more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
More damage
that's
to our
right.
sanity
More
and to our
damage, yeah.
morale. Yeah. Good.
There you go, Captain Conway. So I think that Phil's contributions to the game were central to the tension, the incoming storm, the encroaching dark, and so on. Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Conway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Next stage, emo demon teenager. He's aging fast.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
It's going to be
It's one of
Callum's
those.
best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I found by the
you
road
found?
near
He
a
said
dead
he-
horse.
He
It's gonna
said
be
you're his
Callum.
mama.
Callum is the wolf. There you go.
Oh, don't
Spoilers.
throw out good idea that
Spoiler.
can be used. No.
Yeah, that's right. Now we can't use it.
Well, I'm already using Dice Tales' idea.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Good.
Also, another interesting thing that might have passed unnoticed is how easily you can interact with the horror element in mockery, like the soul demon baby. We have predisposition to mock fear. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
but we do it outside
true.
the session.
That's true.
yeah. It
In
would
the
have been.
session,
right
I'm
time
going to
to-
be terrified, but
Yeah,
outside the session, we'll laugh
but
about
now, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Phil. That was a
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. That was great. It's
know-
an interesting experiment.
and that really that's really like
I know you
in
like
my
it.
wheelhouse, right?
I'm coming fresh off of, tome 6 of Berserk, so
Oh yeah.
Oh.
it's helping. I got a lot
It's
of
great, eh?
demon baby knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah. One demon baby. There they are.
That's awesome.
But yeah. But
Definitely
this like
demon
no
babies.
no fantasy, right? This mundane world, right? With the medieval mundane world. That's probably my favorite setting for some reason.
I'm gonna make it a little darker.
Yeah. And
Up
those
the
slow
darkness.
pace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turn
Those
down
slow
the
pace
pace.
sessions.
Yeah. So my goal with this game is 4 or 5 sessions to fill out the 3-act structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Could be
this is-
5 acts too. 5 acts work as well.
I don't know what 5 acts is. I'm not that well versed in literature.
No, it's done a lot in Asian movie.
Is
And
5 acts
Asian
just another way
storytelling is
to
often
say
5
3
acts. No, Asian storytelling often do 5 acts. It's different if you're well versed in the in Eastern storytelling.
Yeah. Sounds degenerate. No, I don't know. All right.
The black ended. Oh yeah, there was like the demon. There was a black end, right? That's what you said.
Yeah,
It was a black hand.
underneath your boot there was an unmistakable black
Yeah.
hand with a thumb.
But it could have just been in the stomach.
Oh, I
right?
saw it like I saw it like a crow end.
It was
right?
definitely a bird,
Yeah, definitely a bird. That's how I see it. I saw it.
potentially a bird.
There you go.
Was it a bird?
A bird with hands instead of
Bird with ends
clawed feet.
instead of wing.
They have thumbs, right? It's like
Yeah.
that. That's like the longest bone of the wing.
Yeah.
It's the thumb.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That's funny.
Thumbs
All
and
right.
wings, they're totally indistinguishable from each other.
Totally.
Well, if they're like on form, right? Still like in fetal stage.
Yeah,
kinda,
it's
right?
true. It's just a little baby bird. Little baby bird of a
Well,
demon.
also you know that I guess I know, that's true for mammals. You know, like when mammals, when like in the fetus go to different stage, right? Like so at first, like they look like kind of a fish, and then they have a
Yep.
tail, and then they look like a little monkey, and then they lose a tail.
What?
You never saw
Mammals
like
look like fish?
when they're in the fetal form, when they
Oh,
start,
fetal form. Okay, yeah.
they develop like they go to different like
Okay.
phase. So who knows, right? When you get like a fetus.
true.
And Johan is no doctor.
Why is your horse eating bird fetuses? That's strange.
I don't know. It's just a fetus that I don't know. Maybe it's
Just an
some kind of
omen.
weird supernatural.
It's an
tumor.
omen.
Like that are big, so it's like an ostrich fetus is what's in
Is it big?
strange
Did we
black
establish it was
ostrich
big?
fetus. Well, big for a bird fetus.
It's a mysterious thing that we don't
It's
understand.
very mysterious.
It's okay to
Yeah.
just be undefined. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, we need a stat block.
But that's that's where the horror lies as well, right? Like that's part of the horror. It's like what the heck was that thing, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to play with the unknown.
Yeah, and Johan kind of like shut it off of his mind, right? Just like kick it in the dust and stop thinking about it, because he's used to do that.
Good luck trying to stop thinking about that. That
Yeah.
Can't
abomination that shouldn't exist in your world.
That's right. I'm gonna start stammering.
It's in there, guys.
I'm gonna just stammer away now.
Yeah.
We're good?
We're
I'm
good.
feeling good. I
Let's
ate a
call it.
shellless egg. Wait, we have to get this in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Exactly.
Rock.
Thank you.
What is a shellless egg?
Who knows?
It's an egg without a
That's
shell.
what I eat for dinner. By the way,
Yeah, there you go. I had some
shellless
too.
egg.
Was that the riddle? It's what Max eats for dinner.
It's what it's what's for dinner. Eggs.
Yeah.
Y'all have an
Shellless egg.
excellent evening. And watch, hey, guess what? I'm on Rumble and X. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's good.
And I'm on
Y'all are
Twitch and
on-
YouTube.
Twitch and YouTube.
I'm just on YouTube.
Just on YouTube. Good. That's a good idea. And we'll see y'all later. Keep your eyes peeled for session 2. What
We'll
was
see.
that demon baby? Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe we won't.
Maybe we'll
Let's
never
hope
find
not.
out. All right. Who makes a throwaway demon baby? I don't know.
I don't know, Phil. You made it.
All right. Y'all have a good evening and God bless. Take care.
Carol, bye.
Good night.